Chicks dig me because I rarely wear underwear, and when I do, it's usually something unusual.
Okay, Codsworth. So what I want to do here, I need you to stick with me on this, and I need you to record everybody's name because we need to make sure that we annotate it in the holotape, so that way it can be part of the official record. So we want to provide some acknowledgements on our Tenpines settlement and let everybody know who gave us ideas or inspired us or what have you. So let's go ahead and finish our little trek there to Tenpines and we'll get going on that. So here we go. So first of all, let's pick us some little seed pods there. Alright, so first of all, we wouldn't have built here at Tenpines had it not been for Kevin Alibert and his challenge to rebuild Tenpines. His challenge was designed for mostly for a specific group, people that maybe were new to building and Fallout and that type of stuff. And typically, this is the first settlement that you get. So the idea was to take the first settlement, and even if you hadn't started building yet, you could at least get here and even start a new game and get here pretty quick and try to build here. The goal of the challenge was to rebuild the house, have vendors, have a working farm, security, settlers, and some sort of a training area, potentially a range. So we did all that, Codsworth. So we have our security, and we have plenty of vendors, and we have our people walking around and all that kind of stuff. So um, we have a clinic, and we have different vendors, and we have
Need to get
houses,
back to Diamond City
and
one of these days.
that's great.
Biggest town I ever saw.
Well, what's wrong with this place? You have everything you need here. So, I mean, Diamond City's great and all. If you like the big city, the hustle and the bustle of the big city, but everything's here. So, thanks to Kevin, we decided that we were going to pull all of our workers off of Coastal Cottage and come here and work on this place. So we did that,
If we
and
had a good supply of clean water, things would be pretty good.
you guys keep interrupting me. I'm trying to dictate something here to Codsworth, and you have plenty of water. I don't know what you're complaining about.
Can't remember the last time I had clean fingernails.
Didn't I just talk to you? Didn't you want to go to Diamond City? Jiminy Christmas. Okay, so as you can see, we have our farm, we have our vendors, all these things. So all of that was thanks to Kevin. So the next person that I would like to acknowledge would be Denise, also known as Phoenix. And there was a few things that I wanted to acknowledge with her. Um, Generally speaking, just her decorating as a whole. Um, Coming up with one, she's the best decorator that is out there, first and foremost. And also, she does some
Yes?
pretty interesting things when she's building,
Yeah?
putting things together. And this idea here, specifically, this scavenging station at the in the front of a vendor stall, is an idea that she had, and it fits in really well, particularly with like the general vendor, which is what this gentleman is.
Nice,
And
nice.
so this is something that she's done, and she gave me permission to go ahead and use it. So I wanted to acknowledge that that was something that I got from her. And likewise, let's speed up things here a little bit. Likewise, the vendors up here, both my my weapons
Not a
vendor
bad job,
and
man.
my armor vendor, same kind of concept. She often tries to disguise these vendor stalls. Oh look, looks like we got some the 2 millimeters falling down. Just set that over there. So she likes to disguise the vendor stalls, and so because they're kind of boring and plain and whatnot, and I don't think she's ever done anything like this,
Try it.
but
You'll see.
this was something that I thought just worked out really well. I mean, you have your weapons bench here. I always like to put a weapons bench near my weapons vendor. You know, makes it look like they are maintaining things and that kind of stuff. And just adding these other boxes and stuff just looked like it was a good idea to just kind of fill up the rest of it and hide the glass front. And then over here, and he's my weapons vendor, and the mayor. That outfit denotes the mayor. So, unfortunately, the armor stand bench does not disguise the vendor stall very well. So I used this cabinet to hide it, and you know you still get the benefit of using the cabinet. You know, plus you get the shelves and all that kind of stuff. So you can kind of put some more of the items there. Now I understand this guy's an armor vendor, and I've got clothes out here, but that's all right. I didn't have any extra armor that I wasn't using at the time, but typically I would use these lockers and put a lot of my extra armor in, but I don't have that going at this spot because I used all the armor up. So just general decorating and the vendor stalls in particular, I want to give a lot of credit to Denise. Also, I had showed this to her briefly, and she just thought it was great. So, you know, that's always makes me feel happy. Not finally, but next would be Ed Couturier. And Ed, I don't know if I pronounced your last name properly. Probably butchered it, but we both wanted to do a weapons range, and Ed was going to use doors, and as it turns out, his idea for his doors was going to be mildly similar to mine. So he forced me to come up with a different plan. I wanted to use something different than what I used at the castle, and so with him using the idea that I was kind of going to do, I wanted to make it different enough. So I came up with this new setup, and I think it worked out really well. It's neat and interesting, and it really kind of forces you to do some timing and stuff like that. So I really wanted to give a shout out and a thanks for having him do his thing, and kind of by him doing something so good as he did, kind of made me have to not so much try to do better, because I don't think mine's better than his, just to do something different and try to do it as well as I possibly could. So thanks to him, I did this, and I think it worked out really well, and it's a bit unique. So yeah, so there's that. Next, I would like to acknowledge SushiKat Gamer. Everybody that knows her, they just call her Cat. And for her, generally, it would be just the overall building. She's been doing a few live streams of her building and stuff like that. And there's a few things that she's done that kind of, I mean, she's a great builder. She just doesn't do enough of it. But there's a few things that, look, if it'll shut you guys up, we'll put in another water pump. Is that what you want? I mean, I'm trying to do this video here. You guys won't shut up. So there, have another water pump. Now you can't complain. Okay, so decorating. Kat is another just downright amazing decorator. She it's really hard to be on par with Denise, but she is right up there with one of the best. She does such a good job. She tries to make a story for all of her little houses and stuff for all of her people, and her thing of doing that kind of inspired me to make this guy some sort of like a tech little guy, you know, and put out a few tech items and that kind of stuff with the little robot and whatnot. So yeah, so that's kind of where I did that. But then also with you know, this bookshelf here, just kind of decorating it up, and then finally up over in here, there's this you know, there's these things out here, but then this dresser up here. She did this as well, but she did it much better. I put this book in here, but she put clothes and a few other things in there, and I think it just what she did was amazing. So I just kind of took that idea, and I wanted to add a little flash of it out here as well, just to kind of show that she had a great idea, and I think it was amazing. So I wanted to use it as well, and hopefully she doesn't mind that I used her idea before she's able to get her video out. But trust me, hers has turned out so much better than mine ever did. Mine's a cheap knockoff, and she's the actual Rolex. So yeah, very good. And I'm just gonna take that book. It's just there for fun. I don't like to leave my magazines around. The guy stole it. And then More to Me for Life has is also taking part in this challenge, and she's put out a couple of videos on her progress and that kind of stuff. Just generally speaking, her buildings that she's done really kind of just gave me some good inspiration and some ideas and that thing. Nothing in particular, but just her stuff really kind of lit a candle in me and added a little bit of spark and a fire to do some things. So I wanted to definitely thank her and acknowledge her as well. And then finally, and I've used this before, and I don't think I gave proper acknowledgement, and I may be wrong, but I believe both Stacy Plays Fallout and Wasteland Dovahkiin has done this one, and I don't know. It may have been Wasteland Dovahkiin that did a how-to on it, but it may have also been Stacy. It's been a long time ago since I watched it, so I really don't remember. But I'm pretty sure that both of them have done this idea. So now the way that they did it, the how-to video that I saw was done differently than the way I did it, but they both work equally well. So yeah, so this idea was basically from them. So I wanted to make sure that I gave acknowledgement to those guys as well, because without them doing it first, I would have never even thought of it. It just wasn't something that, I mean, what you do is you use this is the piece out of the ball track, and I just don't go into that tab very often. So had they not done it, I wouldn't even have considered it. So yeah, so that's pretty much everything as far as inspiration and that kind of thing. I did want to throw out one more that is kind of a vague inspiration, but it's Morpheus GI. He really liked my idea of having when I had several of my settlements, I put like a storage area where all of the caravaners and my provisioners would come, and they'd have the supplies and that kind of stuff. And he really liked that, and he acknowledged that. And because he acknowledged it, and he kind of started using it a little bit on some of his as well, it kind of inspired me to keep doing it. It made me feel like it was appreciated, and it was like a good idea. So because of him, I wanted one more building, and so I just kind of, this seemed like the right kind of a building to have. I just kind of threw this up here and gave a spot for the provisioners to come in and have a rest and that kind of thing. A little spot for them to relax on their way back and forth and that kind of thing. So yeah, so Morpheus GI as well. So I hope that everybody appreciates these other people, and if you haven't seen their stuff, by all means go out there and check them out. I will put a link to everybody's channel in the description of this holotape, so you can get to their channels and check their stuff out. Many of them do other things as well, so you'll be able to maybe see some of their other stuff that they do, other games that they play and that kind of stuff. and really get to enjoy that stuff as well. So I want to thank everybody for the inspirations and the ideas and the things that I you know, did the cheap knockoffs of from the brilliant ideas that you guys have already done. And once again, I want to thank everybody. Codsworth, gosh, I hope you're paying attention. I don't know where you went, but dear Lord. Okay, well, I'm going to go find Codsworth, and then we're going to hightail it out of here. Get our crew working back on Coastal Cottage.
Let me just close this conversation by saying you are one unique individual.
Everybody else got friends, Mama. I just want some too.
I have much to learn still, Master.